The transport shuttle descended through the orange haze of Terminus Station's atmospheric shield, and Marcus Webb pressed his forehead against the viewport. 3 years of solo deep space surveying had earned him this assignment, a cushy posting at humanity's newest outpost, complete with alien liaison partners. The bureaucrats called it interspecies cooperation. Marcus called it babysitting. His boots clanged against the metal dock as he disembarked. The station hummed with activity. Traders hawking crystalline minerals, maintenance crews welding hull plates, and dozens of species Marcus couldn't name moving through the controlled chaos. A short, blue-skinned official approached with a datapad. "Marcus Webb, Geological Survey Specialist?" "That's me. Your companions are waiting in briefing room 7. Report immediately." The official thrust the datapad into his hands and scurried away. Marcus navigated the winding corridors until he found the designated room. The door slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing 2 figures standing beside a holographic star map. The first was tall and angular, her skin shifting between pale green and silver, depending on the light. 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on her face tracked his movement with unsettling precision. Her species, the Valix, were known for their computational minds and cold efficiency. The second was shorter and stockier, with russet-colored fur covering most of her visible body. 2 large ears swiveled toward him as he entered, and her tail flicked with what might have been curiosity or irritation. The Corvin were notorious for their blunt honesty and pack mentalities. "You are late by 4 minutes and 17 seconds, the Valix said, her voice like wind chimes. "Traffic was murder," Marcus replied, dropping into a chair. "Let me guess, you're my new partners?" "I am Elira. This is Venna. We have reviewed your service record." Elira's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Your survival rate is adequate, though your interpersonal evaluations are concerning." Venna snorted, a sound that reminded Marcus of a dog sneezing. Translation: "You don't play well with others." "I work alone," Marcus said. "Or I did, until someone decided I needed a committee." "The survey zone is classified as extreme hazard," Elira continued, unbothered by his tone. "Regulations require 3-person teams. You possess geological expertise. Venna has combat training. I specialize in predictive analysis and navigation." "Great. A nerd, a soldier, and a rockhound walk into a bar." Marcus stood and examined the star map. Red sectors marked unstable regions, gravity wells, radiation fields, and uncharted asteroid clusters. "This is a nightmare. We'll be lucky to survive a week." Venna's ears flattened against her skull. Human pessimism is as tiresome as advertised. The first mission launched at dawn cycle. Their ship, a compact survey vessel called the Pathfinder, was barely large enough for 3 crew members and their equipment. Marcus took the pilot's seat. Elira managed sensors from the co-pilot position, and Venna checked weapon systems in the rear compartment. The survey zone lay 6 hours away, deep in the Shroud Nebula, where sensor interference turned navigation into educated guesswork. Marcus had mapped worse, but never with passengers critiquing his every decision. "Your approach vector is inefficient," Elira observed as they cleared the station. "Adjusting course by 3 degrees would reduce travel time by 8 minutes. My approach vector has kept me alive for 10 years. Your approach vector predates modern computational models." Venna laughed from behind them. "She's got you there, human." Marcus gritted his teeth and made the adjustment. The ship hung smoothly through the void, and he hated that Elira was right. They reached the survey zone without incident. The target was an asteroid cluster rich in neutronium deposits, valuable enough to justify the risk. Marcus maneuvered the Pathfinder between tumbling rocks the size of mountains, while Elira called out trajectories and composition readings. "Contact," Venna suddenly announced. 3 vessels, Unknown configuration, approaching fast. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Pirates were common in unregulated space, and their little survey ship had no combat capability beyond basic shields and Vena's personal sidearm. Options? He asked. We run, Vena said. Or we fight and die. Third option, Kalira interrupted. The asteroids contain metallic compounds that interfere with targeting systems. If we navigate deep enough into the cluster, they cannot track us effectively. That's suicide. We'll be crushed. Probability of survival, 37%. Probability if we run, 11%. If we fight, 0%. Marcus looked at the approaching ships on the scanner. 3 against 1. He hated the math, but Alira's cold logic was sound. Hold on, he muttered, and plunged the Pathfinder into the densest part of the asteroid field. Rock and metal screamed past the viewport. Proximity alarms wailed as Marcus threaded between colliding asteroids, his hands dancing across the controls with practiced precision. Behind them, the pirate vessels followed, their larger hulls struggling in the tight spaces. 1 kilometer to the cluster core, Illyra reported. Interference increasing. They are losing sensor lock. An asteroid the size of a city block tumbled toward them. Marcus dove beneath it, pulling up so close to its surface that the ship's shields crackled with friction. 2 vessels have withdrawn, Vena said. The third is still pursuing. Stubborn, Marcus growled. He spotted a gap between 2 spinning asteroids and accelerated. The Pathfinder shot through the opening with meters to spare. Behind them, the pirate ship tried to follow Dot. It didn't make it. The asteroids collided precisely as the pirate passed between them, crushing the vessel like an insect. Debris scattered across the void, glittering in the distant starlight. Marcus exhaled slowly and brought the ship to a relative stop. His hands were shaking. That was acceptable piloting, Illyra said. Acceptable? Vena leaned forward, her eyes bright. That was incredible. You threaded 4 impossible gaps and timed that collision perfectly. I got lucky. Luck is what the incompetent call skill they do not understand, Illyra replied. Your spatial awareness and reaction time exceed your file documentation. Updating assessment. Marcus didn't know how to respond to that. He'd spent 3 years being told he was difficult, antisocial, and borderline insubordinate. Competent praise felt foreign. They completed the survey over the next 8 hours, cataloging neutronium deposits and mapping asteroid trajectories. The work was tedious but productive, and Marcus found himself appreciating Alira's efficient data processing and Vena's ability to spot patterns he missed. By the time they returned to Terminus Station, something had shifted. The tension in the ship felt less hostile and more like the comfortable friction of a team, finding its rhythm. The next 3 missions followed a similar pattern. Each survey zone presented unique dangers: radiation storms, gravity anomalies, hostile fauna on unexplored moons. Each time, Marcus expected his companions to slow him down or second-guess his decisions. Instead, they adapted. Illyra learned to trust Marcus's instincts even when her calculations suggested otherwise. Vena developed an almost supernatural ability to anticipate threats before sensors detected them. And Marcus, despite his best efforts to remain isolated, found himself relying on their expertise. The 4th mission changed. Everything. They were surveying a dead world at the edge of the Shroud Nebula when Vena detected a distress signal. The source was a crashed freighter, half buried in frozen methane plains. Its hull breached and systems failing. Regulations require we investigate, Illyra said. Regulations also say we're not equipped for rescue operations, Marcus countered. We should report it and move on. There are life signs, Vena said quietly. 3 of them, fading. Marcus stared at the crashed ship on his screen. He thought about the years he'd spent alone, isolated by choice and circumstance. He thought about the two aliens who'd been forced into his life, and who'd somehow become more than just assigned partners. "We're going in," he said. The rescue was brutal. The freighter's crew were Valix merchants, trapped in a collapsed cargo bay with failing life support. Marcus and Venna worked for 2 hours cutting through twisted metal, while Alira coordinated from the ship, her 4 eyes tracking structural stress points and warning them of imminent collapses. They pulled the survivors out with minutes to spare. The rescued Valix were unconscious, but stable as the Pathfinder raced back to Terminus Station. In the cramped medical bay afterward, Alira approached Marcus. Her skin had shifted to a deep silver, which he'd learned indicated strong emotion. "You risked your life for strangers," she said. "Your file indicated you prioritize self-preservation above all else. Files don't know everything. No, they do not." One of her hands touched his arm, a gesture of trust among her people. "I have revised my assessment of humanity. And of you." Venna appeared beside them, her tail wagging slightly. "What she means is, we're glad you're our partner." Marcus looked at them both. These two aliens who'd been thrust into his solitary existence, and who'd somehow cracked the armor he'd spent years building. He'd expected annoyance, friction, and counting down days until the assignment ended. He never expected to find the closest thing he'd had to a family in a decade. "Yeah," he said, surprised by the roughness in his voice. "Me too." The Pathfinder docked at Terminus Station as the cycle shifted to artificial night. Through the viewport, 1,000 stars glittered in the void, each one a potential destination.